till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the bag. Horse stock is a tag.
Hi everyone and welcome to Protocol 36. Today's video will be discussing whether or not Spider-Man Miles Morales did actually contradict Spider-Geddon. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, in Spider-Geddon, Peter Parker pretty much fought the Inheritors along with different versions of Spider-Man and women, and there he saw 616 Miles Morales. And in a panel, not only did he compliment Miles saying that he was a great leader, but also commented on his suit that he would make his Miles a similar type of suit, which then leads to Spider-Man Miles Morales, where Peter Parker does actually make a suit for Miles. However, it was a different variation of Peter Parker's old classic suit and not his classic Miles Morales suit. As later on in the game, Genki helps Miles create his new suit, pretty much showing that Peter Parker didn't actually create Miles' suit. It was something I realized playing the game, and a lot of people also realized this as well, and even Comic Book vs. the Wild talked about it in his video, which is a great video. However, I wanted to give my own thoughts to this, and it's clear as day that they definitely did contradict the story from Spider-Geddon. We don't know as to the reason why, and if Insomniac even considers Spider-Geddon anymore, though it's safe to say that they probably do, as when speculating about the game before its release, I was one of the people who thought that Peter Parker would be the one to create his suit before the events of the game, which would make a lot of sense, as Insomniac would probably take that comic into consideration when writing the story, but of course they didn't. Now, one of the reasons why is probably because they wanted to do their own thing when creating the classic Miles Morales suit, and to have a moment where Daz actually tried to become his very own Spider-Man, which is the point of the game, where Genki even says that whenever Miles is talking about Spider-Man, he always means Peter Parker, which then leads to them creating the suit. So it makes perfect sense that the montage of Genki and Miles finally making the suit and becoming a very vital part of Miles' journey to become his very own Spider-Man for New York. It does make perfect sense for Insomniac to have that scene, and not to mention the scene is brilliant, so there's that. I also think it's safe to say that Insomniac does consider Spider-Geddon to be canon, since I think the same person who wrote Spider-Man PS4 did also write the comic, and did say that Spider-Geddon does take place directly after the first game, so I think there's a good chance that Insomniac does actually consider it to be canon. However, the studio aren't afraid to take liberties when creating their own stuff, and don't want to limit themselves when it comes to important scenes or character moments, as this makes sense since this is, at the end of the day, Insomniac's universe, and they want to feel like they can do what they want, but also staying true to both Miles Morales and Peter Parker, as Peter didn't really mention Spider-Geddon, and that he pretty much went through a multiverse adventure with different types of spider people, and also met a different version of Miles Morales. It was probably because it wasn't important when it came to the moment in Spider-Man Miles Morales, since I don't think Peter Parker would just bring it up out of nowhere unless the story or the dialogue called for it. But it's also worth mentioning that Peter was pretty surprised when he saw Miles in the classic suit, talking about how awesome it is, which again is contradicting. However, it is a small retcon which I personally can get over. It doesn't really break anything for me, since Insomniac probably didn't know, probably because of the fact that when they finished working on Marvel Spider-Man, they went straight away into working on Spider-Man Miles Morales, and probably wasn't even considering any other expanded materials like comic books and etc. So yes, as I mentioned before, the two very much do contradict each other, but until we get official word on it, if it was retconned on purpose or something else, we just have to wait and see to find out. However, what about you guys? What do you think about the retcon when it comes to Miles' classic suit? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.